You're listening to the Bathtub Refinishing Podcast. Powered by BathTubGuys Refinishing. We discuss the refinishing industry, interview owners and operators, and give tips to business owners and entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Daniel Montalvo.
All right, guys, we're back. Still here with Ruben and Evan, and we're just talking some cabinet stuff now. You guys were discussing like different coatings and stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you use out there?
So we shoot solvent, pre-catalyzed lacquers.
Yeah.
And then we shoot a waterborne alkyd, like
Yeah.
the water base you're talking about. So a lot of Linmar,
Okay.
Ultralac.
Yeah.
And then I've shot Renner. I've shot Centurion wood coatings. We're using a product called Evo
By Gemini.
Yeah,
I've shot
and we're using, starting next week,
Ecro. Yeah, I've heard that one too. Yeah.
It's kind of like, out of all the ones we're talking about, I think Ecro is kind of like the Lamborghini package
Okay.
of paint. Not that those others don't spray great. It's again, process, the prep, and then what you're spraying with.
Yeah.
We spray either with a air assist diaphragm and a Nesti water,
Okay.
or we spray with all of our lacquers with a Tritec.
Okay.
It's easy to
Airless, yeah.
Exactly. And we've had, excuse me, a lot of success with those two machines. Started spraying lacquer when I didn't know no better with the HVLP.
Yeah.
Wondering why there was a ton of dust in
Yeah.
the kitchen.
That's when I didn't like.
Heating it up.
Already.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We just had that issue in the last kitchen we did last week. We were spraying because my guys use HVLPs because we transition from tubs to kitchens. So instead of having a bunch of different setups, we use the HVLP with the PPS 2.0 system
Right.
with the vacuum cup, and we're painting this cup, and I didn't realize the turbine's getting so hot it's causing the paint to cure inside. Not just because there's a microliner that paint's going to get filtered through up until it receives into the chamber of the gun. It was drying so fast; it was drying in the chamber of the gun and dropping solids onto the doors. And we were trying to figure it out and go through everything. So we're actually transitioning. We're in the process of transitioning all of our cabinet painting to airless only for that exact reason, because the HVLPs are just getting too hot.
What system are you using?
We use Fuji's.
Okay.
So I have like Fuji Mini Mite 4s, a Mini Mite 3, the Q5. I tried all the different Fujis. My favorite's the Mini Mite 4.
Me too.
It's like that in-between of portability, because the Q5 is it's just big and bulky. It's quiet. But I don't care about noise as much as I care about, like, the day-to-day of carrying shit in and out of the house.
And space too.
And then now we use the GX19 Pro. That's an airless system. It's by Graco. It's a fine finish airless system.
It's got the hopper.
Yeah, it's got the little hoppers, so it's a little bit easier to clean. That's what we're painting those headboards with. Okay. So my process now is transitioning my guys from their experience with an HVLP. That's a different output than an airless system.
Yeah,
So you need to. So I'm in the process right now this week of transitioning into Centurion products, because the solvent base, we've mastered it, we got it down, but I'm looking to deliver that next level service to the customer, right? So when we're in there spraying in their house, they're not smelling all these chemicals. It doesn't last long. It'll last a couple hours, but still, even if you don't have to, it's better for the techs. They're not inhaling all the solvent-based fumes and shit like that. But you have to be more careful now, because with the solvent-based paints, you can clean the machines with acetone. Everything's a little more compatible when you're going back and forth from tubs to cabinet. With the water base, can't mix that. Everything's got to be separate. Everything's got to be
Be
separate.
careful, man. I made the mistake of spraying with the Nesti water. It's a $3,500 machine. I got the little boy.
Yeah.
And I was spraying waterborne.
Okay.
No, I was spraying lacquer.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'm going to switch to waterborne. And I did not clean that thing properly. And it cost me $900 to change the pump system.
Yep.
That was recently. That was just a few months ago.
Yep. That's why I haven't done it. I have a GX19 Pro that we've only shot water base out of. And I've been wanting to, I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. It's going to ruin the pump.
Yeah, I mean, for what you're doing, the amount of work that you're doing, just get another machine, man. Don't worry about it. Have one in the shop or one on.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to just buy another one. But I don't have that much experience with airless. So the GX19 Pro is the first system, the setup that we've used. I like it so far, but I've heard the Tritecs are great.
Tritecs are great. I know a guy in Chattanooga, Alan Barra Cabinet Refinishing. That dude is awesome, man.
Is it worth the price difference? I think I dropped around $12 for the GX19 Pro. How much did the Tritech cost you?
It cost me 1800. T5 is what
Yeah,
I got.
yeah, T5. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been considering because, you know, we got employees now. So I'm worried about buying a Tritech system, giving it to some guy, and him not giving a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'll care, but I'm not spraying anymore. So that's something that I'm considering when buying these platforms is what's the best bang for my buck, and if I need to replace, because I know the GX19 Pro, you can get a new pump for about $500.
Right.
And instead of having to replace the whole system, you just disassemble the pump, switch it out.
I mean, you seem to have, the pulse of your guys just from talking to you.
Yeah.
And so, what's my number one saying about messing stuff up?
Oh yeah, it's coming out your check.
That's what I haven't done yet. Now, I talked to Danny about. I'm a nice guy. A little too nice.
I've done it before though.
Well, straight neglect is, I have no appetite for that, man.
Yeah.
We're here to do a job. The customer deserves a professional job. You need to do the job in my standards, not yours.
Yeah.
Right. And so, if you're going to just be abusing the equipment now when none of us can make money, right? I mean, come on.
That's an issue I'm having right now. My turbines keep going out.
Those are just turbine build
cleaning the
issues, though,
filters,
bro.
yeah.
I feel like they make turbines so bad now. Like the HVLP systems, because I grew up in this business. So, like, my parents and shit, like, they used to get the cap spray, like 9100, 9800, those metal ones, the fucking tanks.
I got one.
Bro, last forever. Those new Titans,
They go out quick.
a year, if you're lucky, bro.
I've had one since 2017. Turbine just started shutting off.
You get, but you know what happens is, like, I've consistently had this issue even with brand new ones. The switch burns out.
Yeah, the
Why
switch
does that
burns.
happen?
Well, a lot of times because guys are cutting it off with their foot.
Oh my
You gotta
god.
stop
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah,
I've learned that the hard way. I was cutting it off with my
But that
foot.
goes back to what you were saying about guys not taking care of shit
Right.
too. So, like, I try to make shit dummy proof, like he's talking about. Like, I get Fuji's. Number one, they're cheap. Two, they do the job. And, like,
I just don't like their guns, man.
I don't like their.
Really?
It's terrible.
I have Tyler uses the Fuji, but it's because he used to work with Jonathan.
Yeah, one of his guys used to work for me.
Yeah.
I had to fire him.
Yeah, and then I hired him.
No, so I had to fire this guy because he just got a little crazy. Didn't want to show up on time and shit. Thought it was a joke. And he was one of my top guys, so I couldn't allow that. You know, that if he starts doing that, everyone's gonna start doing that shit. So it was unfortunate. Like, I invested in this individual, but he needed a job, and Danny ended up being closer to him. So Danny came to me, was like, "Yo, this guy's asking me for a job." I was like, "Man, fuck that. Hire him, bro." I was like, "We'll still get my fucking investment out of him. It's not gonna just be a waste, because if Danny doesn't hire him, a competitor's gonna hire him, because that guy's skilled, bro."
Yeah, he knows his shit. And the thing is too is, like, it's like he said, man. It's like, it's not anything personal. It's just like a lot of these guys don't understand that, like, them as the top guy showing out makes all the other guys think, well, if he's doing it, well, then I could do that shit. And the closer they are with the person, and I know this, the more they think they could be lenient.
Yeah.
So, like, like, if they know that you're his son and you're fucking around, and they see that, they're gonna be like, oh, well, he could do that shit, so I could do that.
No, he'll tell you.
You have no
I'll
tolerance
fire
for it.
my
That's
son
why you have
faster
to
than
be.
anybody.
Yeah, that's something I learned. I've only been in business 3 years. So my crew, you know how it is. When you're in the field with these guys, everything can get personal. You're grinding together, you're working hard together, you're collecting, you're going through the struggles. He was my second guy, and he was there. He was there for me when I was collecting a check and paying. As we collected that check on that kitchen, I was sending pay like, oh, thank God we finished today, because I was about to miss pay. You know what I mean? So he was there for that, so that when you come up from that to now we're getting these commercial properties and things, and we got more people involved, you take those old mindsets with you, like back when we were little youngsters. It's not like that no more. You need to tighten up. And I ended up letting him go, but now he's over here delivering a professional service for
He might
Danny.
have got his mind right.
Yeah, he got, it's people too. So that's something we've learned, is you're dealing with people.
Right.
Like, it could be any reason. It's not that he's a bad person. It's just that shit happens. Right. But I'm glad that we were able to protect the investment, because he got years of direct hands-on training with me, and could have been lost to a competitor out there making someone else money.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's, he's a good worker. He works hard. Like, everything you'd want in an employee, he shows up.
Yep.
Has not taken one day off. Like, since, and, like, things like that. But it's like he said, man, like, just because, like, something might have happened between them two doesn't mean that, like,
can't make it
you know,
personal.
and obviously
It's business.
I asked him, I was like, yo, are you cool with this? Because some people just won't be. But he was cool with it, and he had nothing, but nice things to say about him, and vice versa. And I sent him to drop off material one day at a job he was at, and I didn't tell Tyler, and he pulled up, and they hugged and they talked like they were just boys yesterday. You know what I mean?
You gotta keep moving, man.
So,
That's it.
little things like that happen and shit. But so for tubs, you said you use top coat. What do you use, like turbine wise for like HVLP?
So, I got a Graco 9.0 at 4-stage. I got plenty of cap sprays. I got a CS 8100. But we just recently bought an Apollo 5-stage. It's like the Cadillac.
Yeah,
right?
the nice one.
And I don't like their gun. It's just too fancy. It's
Too much,
yeah. And I like a gun that I can break down quick. I can fix it. It's you can the Titan cap spray gun. It does have cheap guts, but overall, it can take an abuse. But I'm gonna tell you one gun that we started recently spraying with, man. It's a bleeder gun by American Turbine. Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's a tank. Chris Santel, who I just mentioned earlier for Texas Tough, he starts off his training by throwing the gun in the air and letting it hit the ground, man.
Damn.
Just to show, like, I don't know what he's ambassador for American Turbine, I guess. But we're spraying with that. The bleeder guns that you hook the hose up, air is automatically coming out. So it atomizes the paint, I feel, better.
There's no point where that paint is coming out as a droplet.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's just constantly going. On top of that, it's air's coming out. So after you spray, you're kind of getting a quicker tack coat.
Yep.
So you can, move through, and it just makes more of a glass tub. But then again, it's your technique, it's the process, and then your top coat.
Yep.
Overall. Yep. There's a lot of top coats that may be super tough, and I'll just say it like a Blue Label from Shark's Grip, because it's got a lot of Teflon in it. But then it takes away, the downside of that is the shine, the appearance. It's dull.
Okay.
So you have to add additives like Easy Flow or maybe certain things to get it to look a little better.
Yep.
This is just me talking, not even Evan. It's just Ruben. I found that the Shark Stain Ultra, to me, out of all the stuff that I've sprayed, and I've sprayed a lot, like you said earlier, Daniel, people just call you, hey, I had a company come from Chicago to my house to pitch to me to start buying their material. I think it was called Liberty Refinishing. I don't know if you ever heard of them from Chicago, but I've sprayed everything that I feel that's out there. And Shark Stain Ultra, it's a polyester urethane, just gives me the best finish overall.
Have any of you sprayed Richards?
No.
No. I just bought a gallon to try out from the same manufacturer. I bought the same distributor I bought the Centurion product from. Because I was telling him we do the tubs and all that stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I have a lot of guys switching from Midwest to this." So it's a 4-to-1 type of product. I don't know if it's any good. I'm gonna do a cloth with it.
What's it called, Richard? What's it called?
It's an aliphatic acrylic polyurethane. So it's the same.
Is it called Viper or something?
Yeah, Viper, something like
so
that.
we
Yeah.
use that.
Is it
used
good?
that before.
Is it good?
Bro, I did not have a good experience.
No?
I got a callback.
Really?
With that. You know what they told me?
What?
It was your
Inside the
fault?
catalyst.
They told you it was your
No,
fault?
they didn't.
Oh.
The catalyst has isopolymers in it, right?
Uh-huh.
If it's in an aluminum can,
It is.
and I know it is. I
Yeah.
bought it. Those polymers can dissipate over time, right? In an aluminum can, excuse me. And so the hold isn't there for the catalyst. We sprayed a tub and wall surround. Got a call back a week later from a real estate agent that calls us all the time. She's like, we put some tape on it. They just pulled it right off. And I'm like, that cannot happen. And so I called back the company that sold it to me. I'm like, listen, guys, you can't push this out to refinishers in our line of work and it just
Do that, yeah.
Fall off.
Yeah.
I've heard things like that. Honestly, there's some guys that swear by Hawks, but I've heard by a lot of refinishers that Hawks sucks too. I don't know. I've never tried their products though.
I have. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I it's just, I guess it just depends on the person too, because some guys like spraying heavier stuff. I've hired people that like shooting. What is their freaking starts with a G? I don't know. There's a company that sells that they sell this material. It's like everyone says it's like really watery. I don't know, but you mentioned them earlier. Jeez.
we're kind of blessed here with Midwest because
Midwest is
they're
right there.
literally
I've just
15
always
minutes
used
from
them.
us.
I'm going there after this.
Yeah,
And
me too.
bro, they have a quality product, and it's like it's consistent. Where it's like, obviously you want to deliver the best product possible, but I feel like the most important things are that it sticks and doesn't look like shit. Like doesn't have runs, doesn't have texture all over it. Because Danny always told me this. It's like I'm not spraying a fucking Cadillac. I'm not spraying a Corvette. Like tubs are not fucking Ferraris, bro. As long as it looks like shiny and good and it sticks, that's the most important thing, right? So he uses a material called Polygon. It's like a local distributor over there, and that's what they use. 'Cause I asked them, but I mean, a lot of the stuff is very similar.
Their stuff looks good too.
Yeah.
Their end product. But again, like we were talking about earlier, you could use the paint that NASA puts on spaceships.
It's only as good as you prep and all that.
You're going to have adhesion failure if you don't prep and your
Correct.
process is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think all of these companies that we're talking about, they do have a good, if it was a straight up inferior product, we would know it.
The company I was thinking about, it was not with a G. It's Napco.
Oh,
And
Napco.
I some people say that like they like the materials. They're too expensive though. Apparently, I don't know as far as price, but that's what I've heard.
Napco's an old school company, I think. Probably, they've been around a long time.
Yep.
I got some of the stuff at the house because my brother-in-law works for a company, and he's let me use some of the product. And so some of this stuff,
So you said you use Crosslink, right?
I do.
You guys, so you're not laying down any epoxy primer when you're cross-linking, or you just cross-linking and top coating?
So it's funny you asked that. So, all of these Crosslink, they tell you 100% you don't have to etch. Gary out there, EAH, some of the products too. I've just found that etching and priming should be just a for sure thing. Now, the Crosslink is a primer, and it's a very good primer. So I won't prime if I'm spraying the coupling agent,
Okay.
right? But I definitely will
Etch.
etch.
Always.
Hands down. Clean it thoroughly, etch it, rinse it thoroughly. Like I said, wipe it down with naphtha. I'll spray the Crosslink. EAH has something called a power bond. It's real good stuff. And then I'll spray the top coat accordingly. But I was using aerospace primer. Aerospace primer to me from Midwest is one of the best primers.
That's what we use.
Hands down.
Yeah, it's one of their best. Like, it's one of the best products on the market. Yeah.
It is. We was priming cabinet doors with it. It's just too expensive
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
And so I found a better, a comparable primer. It's not as expensive as,
Yeah.
but you can't go wrong with aerospace.
Yeah, that's what we use on everything. How do you find the new they call it new tech primer at Midwest? Do you find that wipe on primer comparable to the Crosslink? Or which one do you like better? Because I've done a couple tubs wiping on their wipe on primer, and then top coating after. There's no barrier for any sort of like fisheye contaminant control. Like epoxy primer does a good job sometimes creating that barrier between the surface and like contaminants.
For me, it's more about the context, right? So, like, if you have a tub that is shitty and the environment is shitty, and you want to make sure you're delivering the best thing possible, just pull out the fucking primer, prime it,
Can I ask
because
y'all
it
a
gives
question?
you a barrier, like you said. Go ahead.
I want to let this young man talk. I'm taking all the spotlight. Evan sprays 99% of our bathtubs.
Okay.
So, I mean, as far as jumping the conversation.
Yeah, man.
what's
What you
your
like to
take
do?
on-
What's your
Yeah,
process?
what do you prefer?
Well, as far as the process, I prefer. I do like the Crosslink.
I love
because
Crosslink.
What we learned with the epoxy primer, spraying that, we would have to let it fully dry, and sometimes have to sand in between.
Yeah.
The primer coating. And I just felt like it's quicker just to clean, etch, Crosslink, and then we're using top coat now. You can spray wet on wet. So as soon as I spray the Crosslink, I switch the next gun, and we just
It's much
the
quicker.
whole tub. So yeah, I just like it. It's a lot quicker than having to spray because that's what we were using at first, the epoxy primer.
You spray the Crosslink on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we wipe it on. I haven't noticed a big difference. I do see sometimes like coverage could be a problem, but I just haven't wiped it twice. But that's
Because I'm looking to make the change, but I've been hesitant because of coverage issues. Because I always think of everything in an employee sense. Like if I was doing it, there's no coverage issues, but I have to account for that margin of error.
What color do you get the epoxy primer in?
In white right now.
I get it in biscuit.
Yeah.
That way I can see. if
yeah.
miss
I
it.
get it in bone, which is it's a little darker too. But same reason, like you don't get those lap marks as much because you could see it so much more clearly.
One thing we ran into with aerospace, the only downside to it is that the dry times, because I'm going to spray 2 coats,
Yeah.
30 minutes between each dry time,
Yep.
and then a lot of times, if you spray it, if it is not very, very smooth, I still find myself having to do a light sand, tack cloth.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
not, once you spray the top coat, the next day it'll feel like sandpaper.
Like grit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what got us away from that.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
what
I have
like.
some guys that they'll thin it a little bit too, even though Midwest says you don't have to. It just depends on the shipment you get. Because I'm with you. Like I see that
It's
sometimes
temperature
and
based too.
you
Here in
could
Florida,
feel it.
You don't have to thin it here in Florida because it's always so warm. But when it gets colder out, you might have to reduce.
But it is a big benefit that you could just fucking sand it right away. You know.
And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for efficiency. One less cleaning session on a gun. You know what I mean? One less thing to mix and ratios, and then one less thing to consider. Crosslink it has got my attention because if I can get a guy in there to just wipe a tub real quick, you don't have to worry about dry spray, overspray, switching out your coatings and cleaning in between the gun. That's one less spray session.
Or even if he's spraying it, just have a gun just for crosslink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's another coupling agent we use called QM1200.
Okay.
It's from EAH, sells that as well, and it's also a fisheye eliminator.
Okay.
That's good stuff. We
Yeah.
spray that more, or we put that more on fiberglass.
Have you guys had any issue? So I've never used fisheye eliminator. Have you?
I've used it before. It works.
Have you ever had any issues with it?
No, I've
Adding
had
it to the
issues
top coat?
I feel that if you have an issue with fisheyeing, there's contaminants on the surface.
That's the only thing it could
That's
be.
what it could-
It's
it's what it
rejecting
is.
the paint.
I hired a guy once, and he kept having issues with fish eyes, and he kept telling me that I was crazy, that it wasn't the way he was prepping it. So I went and watched his prep, and you know what he was doing? It was the final wipe down of the tub. He was using lacquer thinner, and I told him that's what it is, and he's like, "Oh no, it can't be." I'm like, "Bro, lacquer thinner is recycled. Like, if you want virgin grade lacquer thinner, you have to order it by the barrel, bro. The shit they sell at the store is recycled."
Even if you got that,
I don't
by
know.
the time you wipe lacquer thinner on that surface, you come back, it's already dry. You're just bringing dirt right back over.
Yeah, and lacquer thinner is not a cleaner too. That's another thing I tell them. It's like it's a solvent. So, it like you said, you're moving dirt around. It melts down the dirt, but the particles are still there. Whereas alcohol, like denatured alcohol, isn't a fucking cleaner. That shit will clean the shit. That's why Midwest says denatured alcohol last. So like, if you're having issues with stuff like that, especially if you're shooting, crosslink where it doesn't have a color, and then on top of it you're spraying, like. It's hard to see those little things. You got to make sure you're cleaning as thorough as shit.
Yeah, I noticed that lacquer thinner does a good job with like residues.
Yes.
So if you have like some nasty shit, silicone or something on top, it can get that off. Real
It
quick, 'cause
loosens it
breaks
up.
Breaks it down.
Exactly.
But then denatured alcohol does a good job of absorbing moisture.
Yeah.
Like if your tub's real wet, you wipe that shit down with denatured real quick. It actually pulls all the moisture out of the tub.
Yeah, but you're also actually cleaning it, and so
yeah.
like it's a cleaning agent, and that's why they want you to use that shit last. Another thing too, and this is for the people who don't like have problems with top coat without etching, and this is the reason I always etch, is because unless you clean the shit thorough as fuck, it's not gonna stick because the crosslink will just stick to whatever contaminants on the tub. So the etch burns off the fucking contaminants. So that's why it's just easier to just etch it.
Yeah.
Not only that, the contaminants, the slick factory finish.
Mm-hmm.
Without that, there's no tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're spraying to bite onto.
Yeah.
And so, you definitely want to etch, and then again, after you rinse it thoroughly, wipe it down. Like again, we use naphtha now. We've tried all these different things, and I would get reaction sometimes. And, reaction in the residential field too. It's not cool because
it's not an option.
These people probably took off work, and
It's a whole pain in the ass for
the demographic in Atlanta is a fast-moving, single, professional type of atmosphere. So nobody has the time for you to come back a day or another day, and so we kind of learned these things in the field and took care of it appropriately.
So when you guys use these products, what is the mix like on that? Is it just 1-to-1?
The Blue Label is
Okay.
Most all the others are 2 to 1 or 4 to 1. We have a secret way of mixing up our stuff. I don't do the whole, 4 to 1 and carry the one. I don't do all that. We figured out a
preset
good mix.
amounts. Yeah, you got a dummy proof.
Yeah, we figured out a good mix. How we mix it as well, not just stir stick, and it does really well. Our end result, the product that we're handing over to the customer is, I want it to blow their mind every time.
Yeah.
What kind of warranty do you guys give?
I give a limited 5-year warranty.
5-year warranty.
On tubs. The reason I had to put limited in there is because I literally had customers calling me like, hey, my husband dropped a bowling ball in the bathtub. Come fix it.
Yeah, you have to distinguish between that.
You'd be like, hey, a warranty is not an insurance policy.
Exactly.
They're different things.
Yeah.
Your car has a warranty. You take it back to Hyundai. If something's fucked up with it, because of them.
And we
right?
don't have Surface Pro Refinishing butlers that come over, and we don't have that.
No.
Yeah. People expect, that's always an issue. It's an issue everywhere. The thing is, people don't know, like, the difference between the two, but I'm trying to, I tell customers all the time, because I give a lifetime warranty on the work. My thinking is, number one, you do the job right. This shit's not going to just come off. And then it's going to definitely get fucked up by someone before your shit fucks up. So, I'll fix things as a courtesy sometimes, but, like, most of the time I just tell them, like, hey, like, this is a warranty, bro. It's not a insurance. Like, you total your car. You're not going to call Hyundai and tell them, yo, it's under a 30,000 mile warranty. Like, no, bro. That's not how it works. Yeah. Insurance, that's a completely different thing. And we don't offer that. So,
yeah, we had a situation like that.
In my spiel, I always tell people, when I send that last invoice to you, you go to my website, top right-hand corner, you're going to see the warranty information, which is lengthy. And underneath that, most important is the care instructions.
Yeah.
Right? If you utilize those care instructions properly, it's going to last a lot longer than 5 years. You got to remember that it's a coating.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing too abrasive. Don't put old school grandmas put a whole gallon of bleach in there overnight. You don't need to do that. It actually says in my care instructions, if you put it on your car, don't put it on your bathtub.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That's the easiest way to dumb it down for people. And matter of fact, most of the shit you use on your car is fine to use on the tub, bro. You want to wax it, you want to clean it. Those things are safe because they're made for sensitive coatings, right? But who the hell's out there bleaching and using a magic eraser on their car, bro? No one.
That bleaching shit, that's exactly what they call us. That dulls porcelain. When they do that for years, then they wonder why their tub is dull.
The molecules in bleach never stop spinning. They're always going. That's why you got to have bleach neutralizer to kill it. And so you're just wiping bleach. Bleach is good for certain things. If that's all you have that one time, but a constant, you're going to compromise the color retention.
I look at bleach like you're going to disinfect it. It's different than a cleaning.
But also, people don't read the fucking label of the bleach. They'll buy pure bleach and fucking pour it in the tub, and you're supposed to dilute it. It's like, people don't read that shit. You're supposed to put it in a spray bottle, put it like a quarter of the bottle, and the rest with water, bro.
It's our job to teach these folks. People just go and get it. Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we have like care instructions that we send to every customer because I'm like, you have to follow this. And you just heard the conversation with a customer right before the podcast started on like what the expectations are of this service. They think that we're going to refinish their tub and it's just going to be perfect forever. Like the original Surface wasn't even perfect forever. You know what I mean? You have to care for this.
Not perfect.
Exactly. So do you guys? We also do these things called inlays. Do you guys? Have you heard of that yet? Yeah. You don't like them?
We just don't do it. We haven't did that yet.
It's a pretty good service, man. It's a good way to make money. It's very quick, and no spraying.
Yeah. Bath fitters in Atlanta, they do that.
They do that? Yeah.
That's just like putting it in bathtubs.
No, so what it is like when you get those cracks on a fiberglass unit on the floor, you know how we shoot foam, we could do a fiberglass resin patch. Instead of doing all that, they create this new custom, it's a custom template. So you go and take some quick measurement, it takes about 5 minutes on a unit. If you're doing like the multifamily thing and you know all the units are the same, you already know what you need. We use a company called New Bath. We send in our measurements, they send us a fiberglass board. And pretty much pre-cut to the measurements.
It looks like a bath mat,
and what it
but it's really thick.
Fits right in, and they use a marine grade adhesive. It's a 2-part adhesive that once it's on, it's forever.
Bro,
it doesn't come off. It fuses with the floor. So what it does is you can shoot some foam under the floor, but what it does is it disperses the pressure. so it won't continue to crack. You know, we've all been there where you do a fiberglass patch, and a year or two later, it's going to crack again because as that foam continues to put pressure on that foam creates that little gap, and as it squishes down, this actually creates support beyond the crack.
Mm-hmm.
So I was mistaken. So when I was thinking the inlay, you've seen the actual
Bath fitter, like
Oh
bathtub
yeah, no,
covering.
those are
those are
garbage.
liners.
Yeah. No, this is it's like a sticker almost that only goes on the floor, and it takes about an hour to apply. You could charge between $500 to $600
Just for
to
that,
apply it.
bro. I did an apartment complex and we did like 15 units for them. Brand new place. All of the tubs were cracking on the floor, and they kept having people that kept breaking open. There's no support underneath, and even with shooting foam, it's like you already the structure's compromised already, right? Because the cracks are cracked, bro.
Right.
You can't uncrack it. So we're looking at a solution. These guys hit him up, and he tells me about it. I tried over there. It stopped the issue, and I'm charging those people like $1,400 a room. So we install those, and then we refinish the whole enclosure, like a tub and walls type of
Yeah,
thing.
and you can still sell the refinishing process to like
Yeah.
make it that brand
Right,
new
all
surface type of thing.
Exactly.
And it comes out phenomenal, bro. And their company, they actually gave us like a 10% credit because I referred him, and now we're both doing business. Everything he sells on, we get like a 10% credit with them. So like their incentive program's good. So if you're putting in some numbers, you know, it's definitely worthwhile. And then you don't have to spray either.
You don't
that's
have
that's
to.
another benefit. You can spray, but the fact that you don't have to, and it's a permanent solution. It's not like something you have to go wondering like, damn, we might be back 3 years from now. You know what I mean? It's done. You do that, it should not break again.
You're basically putting a new floor on the tub. Go ahead.
They like color match it too as well, or like
Yeah, they have like typical bone almond white. You know what I mean? If you want to do something custom, you'll have to spray the unit, but the unit itself, the patch you're applying is refinishable. So it's compatible with our coating. So
It also has non-skid on it.
Yeah.
Like it has a slip resistance
like a
on
texture.
it. So like if you're applying it bare on there and you match the color, it's not gonna like be slippery or anything. And the thing I like about it, and he was saying like the measurements are easy to do. Matter of fact, you could literally just give them the measurements with like measuring tape, and like you tape out, you put like what everything measures. You could show them what it looks
I'm
like.
gonna show you.
But
how
you
we
could
can
send
do
them a
that.
picture of it, and they'll just make it.
That's all you have to do.
And we did I did a jacuzzi. Like it was one of those ones that's almost the size of like those bowl tubs, like those claw foots that don't have the feet. But it was like a fat, just like garden tub. And I sent one of my techs over there, and bro, the board was this big, but it fit perfectly. They're like super like on it with the measurements. So you could even do like a little cutout for the drain.
Everything completely custom. If you got some crazy ass unit that has like you've never seen something like that, you take those measurements and they're just gonna stamp that thing out to fit perfect.
And for that piece alone, I charge $500 because it costs $140 to get the thing. So
Their
I'm
customer
charging.
service is good. They have videos on their website on the whole like
This is
measurement
company's called
process.
New Bath.
New Bath, yeah. You go on their website and let them know that we recommended you. And they'll actually, they support that. So they're trying to build their business too. So if you let them know that we recommended you, they'll incentivize us as well. I'm going to try to find a picture of, because I know Danny Danny put us on game with the applying concrete under fiberglass units. That's another permanent, that's very labor intensive compared to this.
We tried that first at that apartment complex, and you know what happened? It fucking broke anyway.
Did it?
So yeah, so that's why we switched. We came to the conclusion that it has more to do at this point with the quality of the fiberglass itself too. Right. It's not just one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like once the structure was compromised from not having anything under it, the cracks are cracking this way, bro. So you could put something underneath, but the structure's already fucked. So what do? You got to put something to stop the structure from continuing to break that way. And putting this, you're essentially putting a new floor on it. So it's great. You could charge good for it, and you're actually solving a problem. So that's what I like about it.
All right, so this is how you would take a measurement. You line it up with tape, take your little measurement, and then you write the measurements right on the tape. Take a picture. I send this photo straight. I submit it as a form on their website, and they just send me so they're based out of Florida, so it takes 2 days to get to us.
Yeah.
Maybe take a little longer, but probably not. You're in Georgia, so it's not that far.
So they cut the drain out.
Yep. So
Yeah.
they cut the drain out and it goes right around that drain. You'll take a measurement from like the end of the drain to the other end of the drain. They'll know exactly how to cut that circle out. They'll cut all that contours. They won't be like pointed angles like that. It'll be nice and circled out.
Yeah.
So that it looks natural fit. But you can't beat it, man. But the thing is that one thing I noticed, the adhesive is so good, you have like zero time to work with it. You gotta be on it. So like that first, I would recommend if you buy a kit, apply it to something as a practice unit to get custom with that adhesive, because once it's on, bro, it's not coming off. I asked her, I had a unit that lifted. My guy didn't put enough adhesive in one spot. And I was like, is this something that I need to rip off and reapply? She's like, you're not getting that shit off. She was like, you need to lift it up, take some adhesive, mix it, put it in a Ziploc bag, almost like a icing thing, and squirt some in there and try to shove it in and get it back down, because once it's on there, it's on there. So I think it's a great product. It's something that me and him found interesting, because in this industry specifically, sometimes you have that feeling like you're giving them a temporary solution that could possibly have problems again later down the road.
I don't like doing work that I can't guarantee.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Yep, and this is one of the things that is permanent, so you could feel good to back it with a lifetime warranty type of deal.
Yeah.
And with a lifetime warranty, you could sell at a much higher price.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's another reason why I do it. Other than the thing that it should last, but obviously you could charge people more, and I'm cool with it, bro. If somebody calls me 15 years from now and they're still living in the same house, kudos to them, bro.
Yeah, that's another thing. The average person's only living in a house for about 5 years now.
Bro.
Right?
Do the numbers, search it up. The average American moves every 4.5 years, bro.
Right. It's different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Yep.
Yeah, man. People don't live in the same place forever, but yeah, those inlays, we have a sample over there. I'll show you, like these little ones, the ones that they give you.
Yeah, they give you a
and
little
you
key
can
ring.
see
You
what
can
it
sell.
looks like.
They give you products to help sell the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So someone could tangibly touch it if you're doing an in-home consultation type of thing. Take the little key ring. They can see the different colors, feel the material, feel the non-slip texture on the little slab. It's like a little mini cutout on a ring.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a really, really good
product.
system. And
Yeah, we appreciate that tidbit.
Yeah, man. I think you'll make some money with that for sure.
yeah, let's end this one here. We'll pick it up on another one, and we'll keep on going that way, because 36 minutes already. We're jumping through it today, man.
That's it.
All right.
You've been listening to the Bathtub Refinishing Podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to keep up with the Bathtub Guys on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, or visit BathTubGuys.com for more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.